Hello, I'm Dylan.
And I'm Keon.
And this is Trust Your Doctor, that podcast where animals ride animals, because this week we watched Survival.
Written by Rona Munro.
Directed by Alan Waring.
And aired in November and December of '89.
Yep.
So we finally done it. Finally watched every episode of classic Doctor Who.
We're shutting the show down. We've done it.
No, that's not
stops
happening. I feel oddly accomplished, even though all I did is literally sit and watch a TV show.
It was a bit of a big task, those 162 episodes of Trust Your Doctor later.
Was a bit of a struggle at times. Underworld.
Yeah, well, there were some highs, there were some lows, but we'll get there. We'll get there.
More valleys than peaks, okay? No, that's not necessarily true.
Rona Munro is officially, as of 1 month ago, the only writer to have written for the classic and the reboot series, since she was announced to be writing a story for series, I guess, 10 of the reboot, so that's interesting.
Also pretty nice, because this serial is honestly one of my favorite serials. Not just of the Seventh Doctor, but of the entire show so far. Like, probably in my top 3.
Wow.
Yeah.
Some pretty high praise, to be honest.
Yep. Really liked this. Especially episode 1. Episode 1 is probably like... I don't know if I'd necessarily go this far, but it might be my favorite episode. My favorite single episode, that is.
Do you just really like cats?
I just like the laid-back nature of episode 1.
You just like that there wasn't a massive egotistical dictator trying to take over the world for once. It was just some crazy sergeant trying to lead some self-defense losses.
Yeah, that's part of it.
Well, so it begins with some guy washing his car and using way too much soap for the water he's using. Just FYI, he's got the complete wrong soap to water ratio.
His mom calls him in for dinner. He's like, be there right away. But unfortunately, he never makes it back.
Oh, you don't know that. He gets transported to the cheetah planet and we never see him again. So.
I guess he dies on the cheetah planet.
Or he becomes a cheetah person.
Yeah, that's possible. Because he's assaulted by a figure that you don't see. Spoiler, it's a cheetah guy, probably on a horse.
Or it's a cat. It's just a cat.
Well, considering how you get a first-person view from it and it's looking down on him from what looks like 20 feet in the air.
Maybe it's a flying cat.
Yeah, maybe. Would be the only one in this serial, but sure, maybe.
So then the Doctor and Ace materialize in the middle of the street, and the Doctor's like, well, I brought you home to Perivale, Ace. And she's like, I didn't say I wanted to go to Perivale. She was like, I just thought I wanted to know what the gang was up to. The Doc's like, well, we're here now.
So stop complaining.
Well, he doesn't say that. He says, well, let's just go find out what they're doing.
Yeah, so they go and check out a couple locations, and nobody's there.
The Doctor's all suspicious because he sees the random bucket of soapy water.
Yeah, it's tipped over, so he puts it back right side up, and I was half expecting the lady to be like, hey, get your hands off my bucket!
Really possessive of the bucket.
The townsfolk do call a cop, singular, on the Doctor later. The sergeant, so.
A cop, singular. What is a small town in the middle of nowhere? Well, so they go to the
view from the hill didn't make it look that small, to be honest, but hey, whatever.
They go to the youth center.
Yeah, because apparently that's where a lot of kids hang out, according to Ace, but nobody's there.
Well, it's called the youth center. Clues in the name.
And none of Ace's friends are there. Instead, Sergeant something is there. I didn't know his name.
It's Patterson.
Yeah, Sergeant Patterson is there, leading a self-defense class.
Yeah, really violent self-defense class, because the guy I think it's Mitch, he's holding this guy down. He's like, I've beaten him, and the sergeant's like, no, do you think you can just stop when a robber's mugging you? No, kill him.
Does he actually say kill him?
No, but he says beat him, or something like that. So the guy slams the guy's head into the mat, and he passes out, I guess, or he gets knocked out, and I'm like, whoa, it's a really violent self-defense class.
So the doctor and Ace come in, the class gets dismissed, and Patterson is like, hey, the doctor's like, so, do you have a stray problem? And he's like, stray what? The doctor's like, cats, duh, thought it was obvious. And he's like, nah, I don't know.
I mean, it could be a stray dog problem.
There's only one dog in this serial. Eating cat food, messing everything up, as usual.
What?
Get out of here, dogs. Nobody likes you. It's not true.
We both have dogs.
Yeah, but there have been various shots of demonic-looking cats throughout this.
Mostly black cats.
Yeah.
Actually solely black cats, not mostly black cats, just black cats.
Yep. With pretty creepy demonic smiles.
Yeah. There's a non-demonic cat later, but it's not a black cat, so you know it's not demonic. I think. You know, apparently there's a real problem with black cats getting adopted less than other color cats because of that whole stigma behind black cats being bad luck. And
wow, that's pretty surprising.
Yeah, it's also kind of sad, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're getting a cat, get a black cat. Or get whatever cat you want, just, you know.
Just know that you're a jerk if you don't get a black one.
No, not at all. Not at all. Just consider a black cat. Anyway, the doctor goes to the supermarket to buy some cat food.
The two guys who run it, well, one of the guys is working, the other guy's just standing there reading a newspaper, telling the other guy how he's dumb for working on weekends or something.
So the doctor shows up, he's like, so what's the best cat food? And the guy's like, well, if you believe the ads, this is the one that gets the cats meowing, or this is the one that really gets the cats to come to you when you open the tin, or this one. So the doctor doesn't actually buy the cat food, he kind of just walks out with it, and the guy's like, you want to pay?
Oh yeah, we forgot this scene that I only remembered because I made a note of it, where it's near the beginning, there's a cat in this lady's yard, and she opens her door, and she's like, get out of my garden. And it was just like, garden looks more like an overgrown forest to me.
So
anyway,
the doctor goes up to Ace and is like, what's wrong? And Ace is like, I don't know where anyone is. And the doctor's like, well, I'm gonna go use this cat food to do some stuff. You have fun. Yeah,
that's what he pretty much does. He doesn't really explain or detail anything about what he's about to do.
Maybe he just really wants a pet cat and he's looking for some strays to adopt into the TARDIS.
That's something that I guess this serial does that the last serial did too, is that the doctor sort of just drives things forward just slightly when necessary in this.
Yeah.
And it's more of an Ace serial again, which I guess isn't a bad thing.
It is set in Perivale, so the fact that it's an Ace serial is not surprising.
No, it's not, but just wanting to point it out there.
Yeah.
Especially later when Ace is torn between the two sides and the doctor literally just shows up and he's like, Ace! And she's like, that's what makes her go back to his side. Literally just him showing up and saying her name.
And Ace also probably not wanting to eat a person.
That too, but like... There was nothing. It was just nothing. It was just he showed up and he's like, "Hey, Ace," and she's like, "Oh, hi."
I
guess
mean,
I won't.
Like, she's known the doctor for at least a couple months now, and she just met Carl like not 5 minutes ago. So,
still seems like there could have been a bit more there, but hey, whatever.
So
anyway, that's later.
The doctor sets up shop in this bush next to this road, and he's
in somebody's yard. They sort of peer out the window or door or whatever, and they're like, what? What are you doing?
The doctor shoos them away. He's like, I'm busy. Yeah.
So apparently they call the sergeant to come deal with it.
No, the sergeant interrupts the doctor's experiment because the doctor's trying to lure the black cat out with the cat food. And first there's a non-black cat shows up, and the dog's like, no. And then a dog shows up. The dog starts eating the cat food.
Typical, no.
Do dogs like cat food?
Probably.
Is that a thing? Yeah, dogs will eat pretty much anything.
Yeah. I mean, the way I understand it, or the way I have made it up, is that, dogs will eat cat food, but cats won't eat dog food. Seems right.
Citation needed. Yeah, well, Patterson shows up.
Yeah. He's like...
roughing the doctor up. Patterson says all these things about survival of the fittest and how only the strongest will survive.
Yeah, this serial, I want to say maybe more than any other Doctor Who serial, has the name of the serial in the serial. So they say survival about 25 times, probably. Then again, it is a lot easier to work the word survival naturally into the dialogue than, like, Genesis of the Daleks.
You imagine the Time Lord's giving the Doctor the mission. He's like, you have to stop the Genesis of the Daleks.
You have to go back to the Genesis of the Daleks to stop the Genesis of the Daleks.
Well, try working an unearthly child into that serial. Susan is quite an unearthly child.
You know that new student? She's sort of an unearthly child.
Now I want every Doctor Who serial to just name drop the serial. This is a real underwater menace. They dropped it in Battlefield because, once again, it's not that hard to work the word Battlefield into your serial.
Man, I'm kind of curious now. I kind of want to think, what would the hardest one be? I don't think I can think off the top of my head, but hey.
Probably one of the longer ones. So I feel like the longer ones are more obscure phrases.
Yeah.
Things like the pirate planet. So the space pirates is not that hard. The faceless ones. But anyway.
Yeah.
So Ace goes off. She's like, well, I'm gonna go playground, I guess.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to this playground and relive my childhood memories. Back when all my friends weren't dead / have left town. Because she runs into one of her other friends who's like one of the only ones left. And she's telling Ace that she's the only one left. Everyone else either just left or just disappeared. Because there's a problem with missing people in the town.
I wonder why. So this cheetah person shows up.
On a horse.
Which is kind of weird.
And I guess now's a good opportunity to mention the music in this serial, which I thought was pretty fitting.
Yeah, it's Dominic Glynn back again.
Wasn't necessarily good or anything, but...
I actually looked it up. I was like, the incidental music's pretty interesting. Who did it? It's Dominic Glynn. I agree, though. It's pretty fitting.
Yeah, so this cheetah person, it's actually what they're called, the cheetah people. Kind of weird that this alien race is entirely cheetah-themed, an earth creature.
And also that they have horses, an earth animal.
Yeah. I was wondering if the master sort of gave them the horses or something, but I don't know. It's never really
Spoilers, by the way, the master's in this.
It's almost his turn to show up. But anyway, Ace starts running. I guess she finds it necessary to go on all the playground equipment if she tries to run away.
I noticed that. I was like, do you really think it's helping? Maybe she thinks she can whoop to whop that horse by going on that playground equipment.
Yeah, everyone knows horses can't go down slides. Little did Ace know that the end of the slide is only 10 feet away from the start of the ladder.
So she starts yelling for the doctor, and the doctor's like, Ace! So he,
Ace!
That's actually a pretty good impression. Yeah, when he yells Ace, it sounds really different from his normal speaking voice.
He's displayed that sort of yelling voice before.
Yes.
And I don't necessarily think that Sylvester McCoy does it naturally, but I don't know. Maybe that is his actual yelling voice, so...
I don't know.
And it's not that important anymore, since he's dead and gone.
No, Sylvester McCoy's still alive.
Well, the Seventh Doctor.
It's actually, Sylvester McCoy's pretty healthy right now, at least as far as I can tell. My completely professional diagnosis.
Probably better off there than Tom Baker. What? Who said that?
Tom Baker looks pretty good for being in his late 70s, early 80s. Anyway, let's go back to the serial, because now the Doctor tries to climb over this wall, and Patterson's not having any of that wall climbing action. He grabs the Doctor's leg, and the Doctor's like, "Get off of me, we're going to be transported to another planet by this cat."
And then I think they sort of are just blinked into this other planet.
Yeah, because Ace also gets blinked in by the cheetah person, and she runs into this crowd of people she knows. It's her friends. Turns out they all got transported to the cheetah planet.
Yep.
She probably could have seen coming as soon as they mentioned they've all vanished.
So the Doctor and Patterson get transported too, and that's the end of episode 1.
Well, you find out the Master.
Oh yeah, you find out the Master
right at the end of the episode 1.
Yeah, I knew the Master was in this. I've known since
actually.
Oh wow. And yet you made the prediction that he was going to come back. Whereas
I didn't know then.
Oh, okay.
I found out after that.
I knew at that point, and I made the prediction that he wouldn't come back just to try and, I don't know,
make it interesting.
Yeah.
I found out pretty soon after that. Was looking something else like, oh great, Master's in survival.
Yeah.
He was due to come back.
Yeah, I liked his inclusion in this.
Yeah.
Sort of a different take on the Master, maybe. Although not an out-of-character one, it doesn't really seem too far-fetched that, he would try and control this power and then end up getting controlled by it instead.
Yeah, apparently Anthony Ainley tried to play the Master in this serial, not this incarnation, darker and less silly than his previous appearances, which is apparently the way he's wanted to play the Master the entire time, but J&T was like, no.
I mean, I didn't really get too much of a silly vibe ever from the Master. Any incarnation of him.
I don't know, that Khalid disguise in Time Flight was pretty weird and kind of racist.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, the Master turns around and he's in this tent on the cheetah planet, and his glowing eyes and sharp fangs are revealed.
He's like, "Yes, Doctor. Welcome to the cheetah planet." And episode 2 begins with Patterson's like, well, I'm just going to make a break for it. So he starts getting attacked by the cheetah people, and we forgot to mention the guy who just gets mauled by the cheetah people in the first episode, that yellow shirt guy who apparently his name was Stuart, according to the wiki.
Poor Stuart. He was one of the people from the self-defense class.
Yeah.
He was actually the one who was sort of berated by Patterson.
Patterson gets attacked by the cheetah people because the Master kind of chucks this glowing orb at him. And then the Doctor grabs the rest of him and starts juggling. The Master's like, they're not so easily distracted when they've got prey. The Doctor's like, well then.
Yeah, well, the glowing orb was to distract them, though. I guess it was like, they're cats. They really like shiny objects, so... Meanwhile, Ace and her friends are in the forest, and we didn't mention, I think, that one of the people is meeting Ace for the first time. So there's like her 2 buddies that she's known, from before, and then there's this one other guy who Mitch sort of hates. Or like he thinks he's weak and he has terrible ideas and he's going to lead them all to their deaths. So
yeah, well, Mitch is kind of the
one doing that, actually. Yeah.
So they're going off, and Mitch is like, "The survival of the fittest. Only the strongest will survive. We gotta kill or be killed." Mason's like, "Whoa."
Yeah, there's this the shopkeepers from before retell a story or like a parable. I don't know if it's a parable, but like the saying or whatever that like it's you and your friend getting chased by a lion. You don't have to outrun the lion. You only have to outrun your friend.
It's true, though.
Yeah.
Unless the lion has a psychic connection with you and is really intent on killing you and not your friend, then you're kind of just done so. So the Doctor meanwhile, grabs a horse. Patterson gets on and they ride off into the sunset. And Patterson's a new companion.
He ditches Ace. Really is survival of the fittest.
Well, so there's this subplot that the planet is tearing itself apart because
of fighting.
Yes, literally because of fighting.
Yeah, it gets kind of heavy-handed near the end. Still doesn't prevent this from being in my top 3 serials. Next to Armageddon Factor and Genesis of the Daleks.
Armageddon Factor is still a black sheep in that top 3, but you know what? I'm not judging you for it.
Kind of sounds like you're judging just based on that statement, but you know,
you're allowed to have an opinion. There's nothing wrong with that. But anyway, the Doctor, meanwhile, thinks that Patterson's idea is really dumb. Because Patterson's like, we should just attack. And the Doctor's like, no, we'll die. Because they meet up with Ace and the troop. And so basically the Doctor's like, just stay still and they won't attack us. And Patterson's like, yeah, no.
Like the T-Rex from Jurassic Park. Just stay still and it won't see you.
So, Patterson...
I think that works with real cheetahs, by the way. No.
You wanna try it?
Sure. I've heard somewhere, I think it was on Animal Planet, surprisingly enough, that like cheetahs are only like 20% successful in getting their prey. I think it's like all big cats, actually.
Huh.
Not that I'm gonna test that out, but hey.
I mean, if it's true, then they'll only catch you 20% of the time.
Or it's like they only eat like every 2 days or something on average. Yeah, I don't know.
That's interesting. So, yeah, Doctor Who's still teaching you things.
I mean, not really. I kind of already knew that stuff, or I think I know. I don't remember if it's actually true or not, but seem to remember something along those lines. So I'm just going to go with it and disseminate it as fact to others.
Let's check the show notes. So Patterson attacks, and then the cheetah people start attacking them, and the Doctor's like standing there still yelling like, stay still! And he's like the only one not getting attacked, so I'm like, maybe there's something to his theory.
Yeah, it was kind of weird though that during that scene the Doctor was more still than the other people. That's true, but he was sort of jumping around and flailing his arms.
He was staying in one place though. Maybe that was the key, was stay in one place.
Maybe they just don't like people who move their legs. Totally okay with that upper body exercise.
He throws his hat on the ground at some point in frustration too.
Looks like Patterson and Mitch and the others start throwing rocks at the cheetahs. Not sure how effective that is. Actually, I am sure it's really not effective. Because they get owned, basically. They also don't have horses, so you know that must have something to do with it.
The addition of horses to the military battlefield was a strong advantage for anyone who had horses.
War, a game played by politicians. Okay, no. War, a game played by cheetahs.
So they escape somehow.
Yeah, they all sort of get separated. Mitch goes off on his own. He kills a cheetah in cold blood. It's pretty much just lying on the floor, or the ground, defenseless, and he stabs it.
Yeah.
With, I guess he picks up a claw it wasn't a cheetah claw because it was huge, so maybe it was a giant cheetah fang. I don't know what it was. They mentioned, or the Master actually mentioned earlier to the Doctor and Patterson how the black cats that they've been seeing were like interdimensional cats.
Yeah,
or something.
He said they bring prey to the cheetah people to feed on. Because you can only go, apparently, when you get the cheetah virus, you can go back to where your home is whenever you want.
Yeah, the cheetah planet is actually infecting people. So some of these cheetahs, or maybe all of them, I don't even know, were actually humans or other species at some point.
Yeah.
So, Ace's friends and later Ace herself start turning into cheetahs too.
Yeah, so
this has already started happening to Mitch. That's why I assume that's why he started to become so ruthless.
Yeah. So the cheetah people, who are born on the cheetah planet can only go back to the cheetah planet because that's their home, but the humans who get turned into cheetahs can go to Earth because that was their home.
Yeah, once you start turning into a cheetah, basically you get the
super cool power of being able to transport, along with the really added side effects of becoming a murderous psychopath.
Worth? No.
Not really.
No, not really.
I think the Master implies that he's lost his TARDIS again, too. He tries to break into the Doctor's TARDIS later on.
Yeah, he's becoming a cheetah, so he's pretty much lost it to the cheetah planet. And he shows, I don't remember if this is earlier or later, but he shows the Doctor and Patterson some ruins, and he's like, the people who made these ruins couldn't resist the pull of the cheetah planet either.
Apparently, the Master can also control the black cats because of his link with the cheetah people.
Yeah, there were a lot of things you just sort of had to accept in this serial.
The Doctor does his one-finger sleep maneuver on Patterson, which I don't think I've ever seen before, but that was kind of interesting. Mitch... the Doctor explains all this that we just explained about how humans who get turned into cheetah people can go back to Earth. And Mitch... So the Master captures Mitch and is like, Mitch, go home, and he gets teleported to Earth, and the Doctor's like, dang it. That helps the Master escape.
Meanwhile, Ace has met up with Kara, who is a cheetah person.
Yeah, potentially was a human once. I don't know.
No, she was because of the end.
Yeah. Oh, so, yeah.
You don't know that yet, but Kara is like dying, I think. She's like, she needs water.
I don't know.
And Ace shows up and they have this discussion. And
Apparently there was a lesbian subtext between Ace and Kara, but I didn't really pick up on it. I wasn't really paying that much attention to subtext anyway.
Yeah, I didn't get that at all.
So Ace ends up with the Doctor and Co again, and Patterson makes his accusation about that other guy turning, and then
they accuse the newcomer to the group. I didn't know his name, but the one that Ace didn't know before. Patterson's like, it's you, isn't it? You're the one because the Doctor implies that only one of them is turning into a cheetah for some reason, even though that's not true. He's like, you're the one turning into a cheetah, aren't you? He's like, what? No. So then Ace turns towards the camera and her eyes are glowing. So it's Ace.
Yeah, it's Ace. What a cliffhanger.
I liked it. I mean, you could see it coming from a mile. I mean, I don't necessarily think that this was supposed to be the introduction of the Ace as becoming a cheetah, because, it was sort of there before with her telling the Doctor, like, I feel my hunting instinct coming on or whatever, but...
The Doctor kind of looks at her like,
It is sort of a creepy moment, though, when she turns towards the camera and her eyes are, like, glowing yellow.
Yeah. Episode 1 and 2 end with cliffhangers of creepy people looking at the camera with creepy yellow eyes.
It's more creepy in episode 2 because it's Ace and not the Master. Just
True.
like this non-villain character becoming a villain. And I was, thinking maybe, wow, are they going to actually write Ace out as becoming a cheetah or something like that? No.
She was going to be written out next season, though, if it had happened. She was actually going to... Her contract, Sophie Aldred's contract, was up halfway through the season. She was going to be written out and go to... And it was going to be revealed that the reason why the Doctor was helping her overcome all these fears was because he wanted her to go to Time Lord Academy to become a Time Lord. So
wow.
She'd be written out by... She would be taken into Time Lord Academy to become a Time Lord.
Honestly, Ace seems like she would just reject that and go do something else. But, yeah.
And she was going to be replaced
Writers of
with
this show have clearly proven in the past that they don't know what they're doing at all, so, hey.
She was going to be replaced with a thief or a bank robber named Rain Cunningham, and her dad, who was like a gang member, would be a recurring character, apparently. Based on interviews with the production staff, that's what was going to happen anyway.
Sounds mildly interesting, I guess.
Big Finish picked up most of the stories for next season and made them into audio dramas. I think they scrapped the Ace going to Time Lord Academy subplot. Or ending. I think what well, I don't actually know what happens, but I think what happens is the Doc's like, yeah, I want you to go to Time Lord Academy, and Ace is like, yeah, not right now, thanks.
Yeah, that seems more like what would happen, to me at least.
Anyway, Ace goes off with Kara. She's getting in tune with her hunting instinct, and the Doctor's like, dang it, we need Ace to go home.
Yeah. So Ace and Kara come across A carcass. And apparently it's a human, but I couldn't tell. It didn't really look like anything, really. It didn't even look like a dead body at all, so, yeah. Kara is like, eat up, Ace, and she's like, that was a human at one point, wasn't it? She's like, yeah, and she's like, you would eat me too if there wasn't any food around here, wouldn't you? And she's like, but there is food. She's like, answer the question. Okay, no, she doesn't say it like that.
Ace is like, and the doctor shows up, it's like, hey, Ace.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about before. It's just like, that's it. That's all it takes for Ace to come back. It's just the doctor showing up and be like, Ace.
No, like, there's a moment of hesitation from Ace, though. It's not like she just immediately goes.
Yeah, there is, but I don't know. I felt like there should have been more there, maybe.
Yeah, it was fine to me.
Maybe they were pressed for time or whatever.
I don't know. I don't know what they would have done, though.
Yeah, me neither, but still felt like there could have been more there.
Okay. So, the doctor kind of gives Ace this choice. He's like, so either you can stay here and possibly you can turn into a cheetah person, or you can take us home, but then you'll...
Definitely turn into a cheetah.
Well, he was like, you'll never get better. Only he says you can turn into a cheetah, but you'll never lose the virus or whatever's already infected her.
Whatever that means.
So basically, if she stays, she could get worse, but she'll be a cheetah. But if she takes him home, she'll be potentially stuck with whatever she's got already.
Huh. That's not what I got out of that. I got out of, like, if you stay, you might become a cheetah, but if you go back, you definitely will.
I feel like that's kind of inverse, though, because the planet is what's turning them into a cheetah, so if she leaves the planet, it wouldn't make sense.
Yeah, all I'm saying is what I got out of it.
Well, she decides to go home.
Yeah.
They all kind of link
She decides to just stay on Cheetah World, and they're all stuck there. No.
Doc's like, dang, well, we'll just wait for the next person to change.
No, they go back to Paravel.
Yeah, and Patterson, I guess, just decides to pretend like it all never happened. He's like, yeah, I just blacked out. Nothing happened. I'm going to go teach self-defense now. Which confused me because I had thought everything up to that point had taken place in the same day. I didn't...
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, he goes to teach another self-defense class to the same group of people.
Yeah, maybe they just had a break.
But I thought he dismissed the class because he was going home afterwards because remember he got on his bike, he rode away with the doctor.
Maybe there's 2 classes a day. I don't know.
Why?
But anyway, Mitch is causing trouble.
Mitch dresses up like Neo from the Matrix.
Yeah, he's wearing sort of a leather suit.
The master's controlling Mitch.
Or is Mitch controlling the master?
This is really gruesome scene now because the Doctor and Ace go to Mitch's house and they find this dead cat that's just been mauled, and I'm like, whoa.
Yep, this little girl shows up and she's like, my cat died. Like, Mitch killed it.
Jeez, this is getting really dark. Yeah, the girl's like crying. Mitch sent her mom away and has weird eyes now. Mitch is her brother, I think.
Oh, really?
At least that was what I got out of it.
It's not what I got out of it.
Yeah, it's clearly been shown that we got different things out of this serial.
So Mitch shows up at the self-defense class and, like, kills Patterson.
Yeah. And then the Doctor says this really morbid comment later when he sees Patterson, like, so much for that, what is it? So much for that self-defense class or whatever. Or, I don't know what he says. Something survival clause.
Nah. So much for that survival of the fittest class?
No. Like military survival class or something.
Huh.
But he says specific branch of the military. RAF, maybe?
What?
The RAF, the Royal Air Force.
Yeah, I know, but, like, this class is associated with, like, a specific military
because when Patterson
branch.
Introduces himself, he says that he took a, like, RAF survival class or whatever, and that's why he's qualified to teach this.
Right. It's like a 3-week online course.
Yeah, in the 80s.
He got his printable certificate. Printable.
Printed on his dot matrix printer.
Yeah.
So the Doctor and Ace... So Ace, like, goes all cheetah, and she's like, a master's at the youth center, so they go to the youth center, and they find the dead body of Patterson. Then Ace is like, oh no, the monster's actually at this open field just outside of town for some reason.
Yeah, the one they were at before.
The monster like recruits all of the self-defense kids to be his army, I guess.
Yeah. So they have this face-off, and
They have a jousting match.
yeah,
The doctor becomes Nord, the baddest biker.
oh god, there's just this bike, this random bike. The doctor hops on, and Mitch is also on a bike, and they joust.
Well, actually, they just run into each other.
Yeah.
Which is really confusing. It's just, the doctor just gets on this bike and rides off to slam into Mitch. I'm like, what?
There's a huge explosion. It causes a huge explosion when they slam into each other.
And apparently the doctor just pulls a monster and survives, but never tells you how he survived.
Well, Mitch survives too. It looks like he jumped out of the way at the last moment.
Well, Mitch
But
dies
I mean,
immediately.
he doesn't survive to the end of the serial, but he survives the explosion. So.
Well, the monster comes over and is like, good job, Mitch. Now do what you're supposed to do. And Mitch dies. Also, the doctor, Ace wanted to get on the bike, but the doctor kind of grabs her off and is like, if you fight, you'll never change back from being a cheetah.
Yeah, Ace can't fight because fighting is what's turning her into a cheetah and tearing the cheetah planet apart.
Yeah.
But she and Kara have sort of a confrontation, and Kara, I forget the events that like led up to this, but Kara is revealed to have been a human. She sort of turns back into a human in her final moments.
Kara shows up and Ace is like holding the doctor's umbrella and hat, weeping because she thinks the doctor's dead. And then Kara shows up and Kara repels the attack by the monster's random army. And then I think she gets hit or something and she dies. And then Ace, man, this serial really sucks for Ace because at this moment, one, the doctor's dead, well, she thinks anyway. And then Kara dies in her arms.
Yeah.
So
Also, several of her friends are dead, so
she's kind of weeping, understandably. And then, so the monster just walks by this pile of trash, and the doctor's just face down in this pile of trash.
where he belongs. No.
Whoa. And then the monster goes to break into the doctor's TARDIS. The doctor shows up and he's like, what you doing there?
He's like, nothing. They somehow both get blinked back into Cheetah World, which
I think the monster has the power to teleport back to the Cheetah World.
Which is
why he can leave.
Yeah, it's on the brink of destruction.
It's on the edge of destruction, you might say. That's a really difficult one to... Actually, it's not a difficult one to work into the serial. Damn. Just thinking of titles that are difficult to work into the serial still.
Yeah. So the Cheetah Planet is on its last legs. But the doctor and the master are fighting it out, and the doctor's like, no, we can't fight. It's going to tear the planet apart even faster. And the master's like, no, we got to do it anyway.
Well, so the doctor gets the upper hand, has this rock, and he's about to smash the monster. He's like, what am I doing? This isn't me. So he just drops the rock at the side, and the monster's like, well, you should have killed me, doctor, because I'm going to kill you now. The doctor's like, well, this is just a classic thing you do. And then somehow, this is the most inexplicable part of the serial to me, the doctor gets blinked back to Perivale.
He starts yelling, like, if we fight like animals, we're gonna die like animals. And then in the middle of that, he gets, blinked back to Perivale.
Which was really... That for me, that was the worst scene of this whole serial, because it just is not explained at all.
Yeah, it's not. I didn't really care, though.
I mean, I still like the serial. That scene was just kind of... To me, it felt underbaked.
The reason I didn't like that scene was because of the doctor's whole speech thing, which I just felt was sort of out of place. Not necessarily out of place, but just maybe heavy-handed.
I mean, he's talking to the monster, who seems to have completely ignored all nuanced speeches the doctor gives to him.
I mean, it does also seem like McCoy's sort of hamming it in a bit, and maybe thinks the lines are silly or isn't taking it too seriously.
It is a bit of a silly line.
Yeah. But anyway, he gets thrown back into Perivale.
And he's yelling in the middle of the street. This lady comes out and is like, did you hear the ruckus? And the doctor's like, and she's like, those cats were fighting again. And he's like, Then he goes to Ace and he's like, what's up, Ace? And Ace is like, oh god, you're alive.
He mentions how the transformation is stopped or something because Cheetah World is gone or something like that.
Well,
some reason as to why Ace isn't going to become a cheetah.
He says the transformation stopped, but she'll forever carry what's left of the cheetah virus within her for the rest of her days. She's got this sick ability to teleport back to Earth whenever she wants, without all the harmful downsides of becoming a murderous psychopath.
Is that like really retained in the virus? I don't know either.
We never even find out because there's no more.
This is where it ends. This is where the classic serial ends. The final line of the show is like what to do or something like that.
Well, Ace, we've got work to do, Ace.
Yeah, we've got work to do.
Yeah, so
the last word of the show is do.
Is J&T kind of saw the motion of the wind, so to speak, when the season started airing, which is about when he knew that there wasn't going to be another season. So he had McCoy come in the day after the first episode was aired for Survival to record that monologue so they could slap it on. So that the classic series could have some sort of, I guess, satisfying ending.
It didn't really seem like anything more than any other season endings ever.
It felt more than the ones we've gotten for most of the previous ones, because it felt more of an end than other ones, because most of the other ones just end like any other regular serial, and then
this one kind of did too.
Yeah, but it had that whole monologue about how we've got work to do, and there's planets that are being destroyed, and there's injustice that needs to be stopped, and somewhere the tea's getting cold.
I guess, but I mean, if you didn't know that it was getting canceled, would you really connect that to anything bigger?
I feel like
Probably
you might,
not.
to be honest.
I don't think so.
I feel like you might.
Nah, I doubt it, but
I feel like if you were watching this season and you heard the news coming out of the factory that there may not be another season, because there were rumors going on that there weren't going to be another season, and then you saw the monologue, you'd be like, okay, it's over.
Yeah, but if you didn't know, I don't think you would really connect it with anything.
I feel like you might, though, because I feel like it's more than they've done previously.
I don't.
Well, I guess we'll just have to differ on that point then.
Yeah. Man, there was another funny scene that I wanted to mention, and I completely forgot what it was. Darn it.
That's the end of the original run of Doctor Who, 26 seasons in. It made it to 26, which is a pretty impressive number.
Yeah.
Guess we can do that season retrospective now.
Yeah, this season progressively got better, I think.
Yes, with Battlefield, Ghostlight, Curse of Fenric, and then Survival.
Yeah. With this being, like I mentioned before, one of my favorite serials, largely due to episode 1. Because I just like the laid-back nature of episode 1. And how it was sort of just setting things up extremely slowly. There wasn't really any big impending disaster. Wasn't really any, I don't want to say rhyme or reason, but there wasn't any really huge motivation to go from one place to another. It was just them in Perivale, just having a laid-back sort of time.
Trying to figure out what's going on with all these people disappearing.
Yeah, almost like a sort of Scooby-Doo-ish type thing. Not really, actually, but...
No, so that description's kind of funny, so I'm pretty sure I've used the Scooby-Doo-ish as a negative assessment at different points, too, because sometimes some serials just have the characters running back and forth for no rhyme or reason. Or like very Scooby-Doo.
Or like when they unmask Quillian.
Yeah.
Who would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for those meddling kids?
You mean that meddling old dude and his 2 school teachers?
That meddling old man, those 2 middle-aged people, and that 1 kid.
Yeah, the season was pretty good, to be honest.
Yeah, they actually managed to wrap it up with...
On a high note.
Yeah. Which isn't something that I was expecting, to be honest.
Something I was hoping for. Expecting, sort of, but hoping for, was that they would continually get better from
Unearthly Child?
No, Time in the Ronnie.
Oh. Yeah, I wonder, I guess this is more of a discussion for the 7th Doctor retrospective.
Which is next week.
But I wonder if Time in the Ronnie was the worst 7th Doctor serial.
I feel like it was, but we can talk about that next week.
I'm not exactly remembering every single Seventh Doctor serial right now, even though there's only 12
There's
of them.
only 12.
So.
Come on, it's Time in the Rani, Paradise Towers, Delta and the Bannerman, Dragonfire, Remembrance of the Daleks, Happiness Patrol, okay. Silver Nemesis, Greatest Show in the Galaxy, Battlefield, Ghostlight, Curse of Fenric, Survival.
All right, I remembered like probably 2 of those, but sure.
Yeah, I don't, there's not really much to say because I feel like a lot of what we want to say is better served for the 7th Doctor retrospective, which will be next week, because a lot of the things I want to say pertain more to the era as a whole than this season.
I guess so.
Apparently the Master's timeline after this serial gets horribly convoluted, and there's much debate and discussion about what happens to the Master after this serial. Apparently, if you follow the book's continuity, he sabotages Sputnik 1, sends a distress signal, gets his aliens to come and remove the cheetah virus from him, and in the same nanobot scheme turns himself back into a Time Lord so he can regenerate. So Ace immediately shoots him in the back and he regenerates. Or if you follow the audio continuity, he gets reverted back to Crispy Master state when he tries to remove the virus.
Huh. Well, I mean, trying to follow any of the continuity stuff is kind of pointless and unnecessary.
And the losing battle. There's always more being added. The reason why they bring him back to Crispy Master state for the audios is because when Big Finish started...
They're totally uncreative and they can't think of anything else.
Actually, it's because when Big Finish started, they didn't have enough money to bring... They didn't have the money that Anthony Ainley was asking to reprise his role as the Master. Because they were a small company.
Didn't just do it out of goodwill? Thanks, Anthony.
And they were still in negotiations to bring him back, like, right up until just before he died. But because Jeffrey Beavers is still alive and wasn't asking as much, they brought him back because he plays the Crispy Master. So they revert the Master to the Crispy state so they can just have Jeffrey Beavers play the Master.
Could have just got somebody else to play him.
They did. They actually introduced their own incarnation of the Master later on to fight the 8th Doctor.
They could have just got somebody else to play, like, this incarnation of the Master. There's no, like, rule saying that they can't, probably.
No, there isn't a rule against it, but it's also very difficult when it's an audio drama and the only thing you have is their voice. You have to find someone who sounds similar, because otherwise it's more difficult to suspend your disbelief than when you have a visual to go with it. Like, if you have someone on screen who also looks like Anthony Ainley, you can get away with the voice not being there, but...
that's, like, debatable.
Well, like, when the only thing you have is the voice, it feels like
when
you
the only thing you have is the voice, you have to go with the voice. Or, I mean, you could just say, like, yeah, it's a different voice, and it's because it's a different actor. It's an audio, deal with it.
That's why they just introduced their own incarnation, so they can have their own actor play it and do whatever they want. And I guess
maybe so that they can own the rights to something that they created. I don't know.
They did recast the 3rd Doctor recently for the audios, though. They found someone who does a rather impressive, actually, impersonation of Pertwee's voice.
Huh. They have his lisp down?
Yeah, surprisingly. Actually, also recently recast Ben and Barbara, so they're not opposed to it, I think.
Ben and Barbara?
Yeah. I think they're not opposed to it. They just haven't found anyone didn't find anyone who sounded remotely like Anthony Ainley. But yeah, so Survival. Like Keanu is constantly mentioned, kind of ironically named because the show doesn't survive.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, so now seems an optimal time to remind everyone that once we watch the TV movie, we're doing a bunch of other stuff before we actually get to the reboot.
Right. To sort of emulate maybe like the years that the show was off the air. Also to get to listen to some more audios. And also not conveniently, but coincidentally, to use the 8th Doctor banner for more than like 2 weeks. We've decided to listen to some audios and read some books, so we're going all the way back to the beginning of Doctor Who. So first we're going 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
Then we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Those are audios and books.
That we've each chosen. We've each chosen one that sounds interesting to us for each Doctor.
Yeah, so. And then after that, we'll get into
we'll get to Rose. We'll post a full schedule for that on the social media at some point, probably just before the TV movie episode goes out.
Yeah, and we'll explain it again probably,
on the TV movie episode.
Yeah.
Also have some crossovers planned for that time, so stay tuned. You can email us. So what?
Speaking of crossovers, I should probably mention the Blue Box podcast 250 came out yesterday, so that's pretty cool. I'm like halfway through it right now.
Yesterday for us, but a week ago for when this episode goes out.
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
Good to mention that again. So we mentioned it last week, and some people might have missed it.
My favorite part from it so far was the mostly made up Doctor Who podcast. Never really heard of them before. I think I've heard of them, but never really listened to them before. But they covered K9 & Company, so that was pretty cool.
I haven't got to it yet. I haven't got to the whole episode yet, but I'm excited to listen to it to hear all these other probably much better Doctor Who podcasts. Anyway, you can email us at thedoctor@decorativevegetable.com. Questions, comments, concerns, angry rants, love letters, your thoughts on the survival of the show.
Of the fittest, the concept. Do you agree with it?
Kind of a weird, not intentional overarching theme there with that whole evolution and Ghostlight and then survival of the fittest here.
Wow.
You can find us on YouTube, iTunes, and Google Play, all at Trust Your Doctor. Leave a rating if you like the show.
Check us out on Facebook, Trust Your Doctor. Like us on Facebook. Also check us out on Twitter at TYD Podcast and follow us on Twitter. And next week, we will be doing the 7th Doctor retrospective. But until then, the end.